Hey, so I know I haven't played Black Ops 6 in like a month and a half, but honestly, you gotta think about it. It's one of the most intriguing video games ever. Not entertaining, but intriguing. Like, just the things going on around it and just how a product has came to be in pop culture that is just so subpar after they've done it pretty well, like 10 to 15 times, depending on your definition of very well. But I'm starting to think the original developers at the Activision studios slash Treyarch have been replaced completely, and none of the people in charge of managing any of these studios have ever played a video game in their lives, because the whole like idea was lost, and I'm not even sure who their target audience is anymore. This is the latest COD trailer that dropped for Black Ops 6. It's like they're just trying to be Fortnite, but like Fortnite's a better game and it does Fortnite things way better. Like, aside from the whole battle royale thing, like, I mean, the entire genre, you can't really call any battle royale game copying Fortnite. Fortnite just happened to be the best battle royale game. There were a bunch of battle royale games before that. Like, H1Z1 is the earliest I can think of. Like, I'm pretty sure that was an Arma mod, and I'm pretty sure it was a DayZ mod, and DayZ is a mod of Arma. Like, I can obviously see why these ideas get used over and over. Like, video games are played by people that played other video games usually, and they're like, oh, I probably could implement this better, or wouldn't it be cool if there was a game that had this feature from this, but it was done slightly differently. And like, a lot of that inspiration would obviously come from video games, but they're mostly inspired by video game companies and inspired by executives that, have made decisions that were propped up in a growing market. And a lot of the times that the decisions that they follow, all of the money that could be made is soaked up and you just stuck with a barren field. Like, all of the hardcore fans of Call of Duty have practically been driven away. All of the people that play it just because it's not Fortnite. Well, that selling point is completely thrown out of the window when they're doing all of these collaborations. And you have, like, unicorns farting in people's faces as kill finishers. Like, the people that just wanted to play Call of Duty, like, the same fans that love the series so much, they completely bombed the Infinite Warfare video with dislikes, because they wanted the experience that they grew up playing and that people were used to and familiar with. Like, that'll probably never happen again. The fan base was so, like, invested into the game. They told the studio, no, you're taking this in the wrong direction. Next game better be fucking different. And then it was. They went, like, they fucking overdid it. Went to World War II, tried to have a 100% historically accurate simulation, and then people made fun of it for clearly not being 100% historically accurate, instead of just trying to be like a like realistic but in a dramatic way, like any World War II movie. And that's kind of why COD took off, like, especially with World at War. It was like basically a movie, and they didn't realize, like, the only reason COD was so popular isn't because they had the world's best marketing. Well, I mean, they kind of did have the world's most expensive marketing, but on top of that, there have been like a million iterations of first-person shooter games, and any ones that have failed, like shit like Medal of Honor, those studios like tried to do, way more realistic things, or other studios tried to do way more futuristic things like Haze, and they just didn't do that well. Call of Duty just happened to do well because it was Call of Duty, and it was like the right balance in the middle. And that's just what gaming, became to be. Like, at the beginning of Call of Duty, they didn't have that many shooters to go back and look on. But nowadays there are, so what's the excuse? And not only are there that many shooters for the studios to go back and look on what was successful, what sold well, what features people liked, because you can look up millions and millions of reviews on, across game article websites, and it just across, random 12-year-olds unboxing the game on Christmas. So that it means there's a lot of more data for like how you should make a good game, but that also means like all of those games still exist. I mean, except the ones that were just online and the servers got shut down and nobody made community servers. But there's a lot more games to compete with. And what studios don't realize is that there's less and less of a reason to play a game, and there's less and less of a chance of capturing that gigantic majority of the market share like COD used to back in the day. If you get a shitty game and you don't like it, you might be like back in the day, well, I don't want to bother anybody to go spend the gas money to go to GameStop to go exchange this game and possibly get an equally shitty game. So I guess I might just keep this one and just take the L and put it on the shelf, or I might play it every now and then and eventually beat it or whatever. And nowadays, if somebody downloads a bad game, they're gonna be like, this is the worst game I've ever played. Look at all of these bugs that I had in like just the first hour of playing it. Never playing this garbage again. I'm gonna go to the company, give them a piece of my mind, personally fist fight every single employee involved in the making of this game in the parking lot, barehanded. Like, that's like the lengths people go to. And then if it's a decent game, people just have fun with it, and you don't really think to talk about like the good experience you had. Like, it is easier to get sales. There are more people that play video games, but it is also way more easier for people to refund games that they don't like, and easier to get their opinions out there. And it's not just critics that are like professional critics, where it's, you know, it's always in the best interest to give fair reviews to games, even if they don't deserve like a good or even a fair rating, because like they might not be able to review the next game and get it early, which could affect their livelihood. So they're always kind of in the interest of the game developers more than anything. But now anybody can do it, and nothing is owed to you. So it's not like 10 years ago where like a bad COD game like Ghost would come out, but people are still like, oh, well, I already played it. I don't feel like going through the physical effort of refunding this, because I mean, all of my friends still play COD, so at least I'm gonna have people to play it with this year. And there's really no point. I mean, it's COD, so at least it'll be a decent standard of quality, probably similar to the last game that was released. But nowadays, everybody is talking about Black Ops 6 just to talk about all of the problems with it. Every update seems to be a controversy, and there's no point in really playing with your friends, because like if you do play this game just to play with friends every so often, well, your skill-based matchmaking is going to severely affect that. Because if you play this game like once a month and you play with somebody that plays daily, you're not going to get very fun matches, because there's not going to be that many people that are incompatible lobbies overlapping like you and your friend. So there's skill-based matchmaking, but you're getting the least common denominators of like two extremes. So you're gonna get put in bot matches. Like I've literally played with a new friend, and since the game has so many people just fed up with the matchmaking deciding when and when they can't have fun, the game thought I was two-boxing by just having a level 1 in my party, and put me in a match on Nuketown with literal bots. I'm not even kidding, like literal bots walking around, walking into walls, completely clueless. And they don't ever consider the fact that players are going to completely see through this shit, and they're just going to not play the game. They're going to be like, oh, well, this isn't Call of Duty. This is like a simulation of Call of Duty. The people in charge are like, oh, well, people are leaving the game because there's not enough players. We'll just throw in a couple of bots in every match, and then people are going to be like, oh, well, now I can find games easy. I'm going to keep playing this game all day. People are like, what? There's bots in Call of Duty? Fuck this shit. And then all of their friends are probably playing older CODs, if they still have people that play COD, because the best Call of Duties, it seems like they've already been made. It seems like every new gimmick they add just blows up in their face. And then basic core mechanics, like, I don't know, shooting people and having the bullet hit where you shoot the gun, and it being a experience that's the same every time, following rules, because it's a computer game, so you should expect consistent results with the same kind of inputs, it kind of throws people off, and they just assume like people will be more on edge and like be more interested in the game if you throw in an element of surprise there. But in reality, it just makes the game feel weird and frustrates people. And when like the players stick around that love the game because they're like, oh well, I've known Call of Duty for a decade, they'll eventually listen to the community. And then they don't listen to the community. They just tell you you're wrong, that you're literally wrong when there's people sending them recordings. And then they just spend their time adding squid games that literally nobody fucking asked for. I don't think I'm gonna buy the next Call of Duty, even if it is a good game. Like, the perfect combinations of both pull factors and push factors happen for this game to completely fall off so quickly. Like, it's still a successful video game in terms of sales and investors, but the amount of people that paid for Black Ops 6 and they're just so disappointed by the game that they don't even want to pick it up. They just let it collect dust. It's very alarming, and it's kind of showing like how fed up people are getting. They've been slowly changing shit in the game and just thinking we're too stupid to ever catch on, even though people have been catching on for years with skill-based matchmaking. Reverse boosting was a thing forever. Like it was confirmed you could replicate this a million times on a million accounts. This was a real thing, and for years they denied it. I don't even know why people thought skill-based was questionable in Modern Warfare 2019 when you could reverse boost in like Black Ops 2 and you 100% get easier lobbies. It was very subtle back then, but it 100% was the thing. Like, there's no explanation for this kind of stuff. And a company isn't wrong for wanting to like branch out and try different stuff and use their capital to either branch into other markets or bring new features and gimmicks to their already existing IPs. That's perfectly fine. That's how a company should work. We shouldn't, unless we'd all be using products from like the 1900s. But what COD doing is very different. It's like disingenuous, and they're basically using us as like lab rats. But we're not paying to be used as lab rats. If you're paying for a product, you should get that product. You shouldn't be exploited for data on how they can manipulate more money out of you. Like, it's a literal casino strategy. And Call of Duty, like, it obviously has to change. They can't literally release the same game every year. But what I mean is, like, every time they release a game, they already have a foundation of what works and how to do it. Like, and somehow little things like those get worse. But changing stuff can be good, like zombies. Originally, the management was mad that, the people they hired to make the same staple COD games they have been making were wasting God knows how much money and man hours and just like developer time by making this game on the job just for fun because they were bored. And it ended up getting approved and basically made COD what it is today. Spawned a new genre for horror / zombie games / shooters, because they knew, like, well, we've been consistently making these games so well. If we do something and it's not 100% profitable, well, the game already sells enough and we can fall back on that. And at least we learned a lesson. Consider that research and development. And our fans will still support the game, but give feedback on how the game is. But nowadays, everything needs to immediately 10x the investment that was put into it, or unless they just immediately shut it down. Like, nothing is just like, okay, we're gonna release a product and see how well it sells and try to make it a good product so it sells well. No, they're like, oh, we have to release this new game mode, but we have to put in gobblegums into every version of zombies. We have to put in booster packs and multiplayer for double XP. We have to put in battle passes. Like, instead of in Black Ops 2, how they were like, all right, we're going to release the game in a couple of DLCs. So if you want more content for this game, then you can happily give us more money. And if you want to give us money for these like skins these textures on weapons, then why not give us money for a texture, like $3 for a camo in Black Ops 2. People thought that was exorbitant, but everyone still bought them because they wanted to flex on people. But like people wanted to show off because they were already playing the game, had a ton of fun in it, and their friends were also playing Call of Duty, and there was a huge community, and like it obviously makes sense. There's no point in buying exclusive digital items in a void just because they're exclusive. Like if the game attached to the item isn't fun to play and there's nobody that you really care about playing it and half the people are bots anyway, like what's even the point? Like recently COD has gotten too greedy and it's kind of pushed it too far this year, and it's hit the threshold of the average player now. I kind of noticed in like 2019 in Modern Warfare, I stopped playing after that one for a long time because I was like, why does COD have a battle pass? They're just gonna release a new one the next year. It's not like something in Fortnite where you might have the skin for years and years, and you might like be like justifying it to yourself with like the 1% chance you might sell your account for thousands of dollars with all your OG skins. But then I mean, they ended up releasing those OG skins anyway, so now all Fortnite skins are worthless in my head. Like what is this, what is the value of a digital item if there's no rarity, if it's not exclusive and everything is just like if you have enough money and just happen to wait long enough for it to be in the item shop, then it's not really anything collectible or cool and there's no point. You're just like giving a nice donation to Epic for a model. Like the only reason I could see to buy skins is to like flex on your friends, kind of like back in Black Ops 2, which was kind of cool to do, to like get skins on guns and stuff. But I mean, it's not, it's cool to do, but it's not worth anything more than like $2.99. Like I personally don't get the attachment to Fortnite skins, especially anymore. Like when exclusivity is thrown out of the window, it's only a matter of time before they start reselling battle pass skins. And I can understand the reason why kids are hooked on it like crack though, because like it's a decent game. There's always stuff to do in the game modes. They're constantly updating it, and Epic does listen to the community. Like I don't know, back in 2017 to like 2022, basically ever since Donald Mustard got fired, they've been just pumping out the slop, no care given. They've been re-releasing a bunch of like skins that like weren't like season 1 OG, but like skins that I thought wouldn't come back, like brand promotions, like the John Wick 2 skin. I'm like, I bought that one in like 2019. I'm like, well, John Wick 2 will never be released, so, or it will never be released again, so I figured I might as well buy this, because I mean, if they, even if they do another promotion with John Wick, they're gonna have to make new content for it. But no, they like just accept any promotion. Sometimes they just accept a brand deal and then just re-release content for a brand deal they've already done. And like it used to be like common knowledge, like every time they do like a Marvel crossover or anything, like those skins would be in the game until that crossover is done. But I bet, the people in charge probably found out that they can make more money, and they probably found a way to do some kind of like residual contract with these brand deals so they get like a percentage of skin sales. But like exclusivity aside, which is basically dead now, I can still see why people buy Fortnite skins, because like there's always something to do. A bunch of people play it, and even if you have people that don't like battle royale games, they have like a creative mode where you can pretty much do anything, and the game is proven like it's been pretty stable. The servers feel pretty smooth, and it's been around for about 8 years so far, and no problem. And it might be around for like probably like another decade, honestly, and not counting like Fortnite ending if they do an Overwatch thing and do Fortnite 2. Like Fortnite could probably go on for another decade. So these kind of sales tactics make sense in Fortnite. But why in Call of Duty? Like, if Call of Duty is gonna release every year, it's like, oh, okay, well, I can see why you'd release challenges to have like meaningless skins, even though the game is gonna release the next year, because then you can prove like, yeah, I've done all of these challenges and got them done before the next game released. I mean, you could do them after the game is released, but then who really cares? Who's playing that one? And like, why would you buy a battle pass every single season if you know the game is gonna be um, overshadowed by the next game that releases? Because Call of Duty releases every year like clockwork. Well, I guess it makes sense now because more and more people are getting sick of Call of Duty because the amount of bullshit that they're pushing, like they've just gotten too greedy and just pushed it over the line. Like people have noticed like this the greedy shit they've been doing for about like 5 years. Like I mean, it's always been like a bunch of shady shit, but I just mean like the maximizing of microtransactions at every millisecond that they possibly can, not just like releasing slop every year because like that's the norm. People are like, oh, Call of Duty is just gonna release every year, and if it's a bad game, I mean everyone still buys it, so why not buy it? But now it's like, well, they've released this like slop every year, but they actually want me to like have an investment into the game and not just play it because it's Call of Duty and it's like the most popular newest Call of Duty, which I mean they already had a money machine there, but it's like I don't really care for the battle pass or buying a bunch of camos if I know the game is not gonna release in a year. Like, why is Fortnite strategies being used on Call of Duty now? Like, I obviously get it. Fortnite is like one of the most successful games for like the amount of money that they put into it. Like, Fortnite just prints so much goddamn money, but it's not built upon the same basis that Call of Duty has been built on for like 15 years. And like Call of Duty used to be like the thing that basically everybody would get when they first get a console. And I don't know, you just buy COD because everybody has it. But like it's starting to not become that anymore because like free games like Fortnite are basically taking that spot, and you're not just limited to a first person shooter. You can like play basically any game mode in creative. And there's a bunch of other free games, like so many. Like for a lot of companies it makes more sense to just release a free game and get as many people on it as possible and make money continuously through microtransactions and shit. And set because like companies nowadays they don't have to get all of their money back by just selling the game. They can make money after the game is released, so it's not like they're just trying to get sales and have a game where they can't change the content after the game is released. So the competition is already like completely different than what it used to be. Like people don't even have to like be forced to like stick to a game they drop $70 on, especially on Steam with how like lenient the refund policies are. And people are just starting to catch on. The game is pretty shit. Like they're spending most of their money, it seems, covering up and just trying to like do the bare minimum and get by and spend any money to cover up backlash instead of just trying to invest in a good game and hoping that it pays off, which it 99% of the time will. It's Call of Duty. And I don't really understand it with those 3 points: competition, the quality going down, and the game just having very, very scummy, tactics to monetize it even further that people see right through. I don't get why these business people that like, okay, well, they're not good at playing video games. They don't know what makes a good video game, but they should know business. Like they should know in the long run people are eventually gonna catch up to this shit and just stop giving them their money. Like you would think eventually they'd realize like this isn't sustainable and it's just kind of like a cash grab. I couldn't imagine why they would try to like sell out future Activision just to like make money like 10% faster than just making a decent game and letting the game make money on its own. But I don't know, just stop buying this garbage. I see so many people playing every single update just to complain about it. It's like, why do you even play BO6? It's like, if everybody stopped playing it, they wouldn't release this shit anymore and they'd be forced to release a game that everybody likes because they have the money to. They have infinite money to do that, but it's just more profitable to, you know, throw some slop together. It doesn't matter if it works only like half of like what it's supposed to, because if you just monetize it to make 3 times more money it ever should have, it kind of evens out. As much as I hate Fortnite for leading like an example of like, just pumping out Marvel content slop, doing like as many brand deals as possible, at least it's like a free game that is free to play and it fucking works, and they listen to the community most of the time because they know not to piss off the people that give them money. Like at least they're a company run by people that know how to fucking make money. Like they just don't hate money. The people at Activision just throw money in the fireplace. And for some reason they still make a profit quarter after quarter. It's a goddamn miracle how that works. Like I don't understand why people know how bad Call of Duty is and they still play it. Like you can just go back and play an older one if you want to play Call of Duty that bad. Like people just, and like why does it matter if it's the newest one? They're going to release the newest one the next year. Like just stop buying this slop for the love of God, because it's getting to the point where they don't even care. They're just releasing AI generated shit, and on top of that, they're like firing their original staff if they don't agree to like let their voice be used by AI. So like Black Ops 6 isn't even going to be like the game that we all bought thinking it was going to be. A lot of shit is going to be changed, and they're going to have to settle and find replacements very quickly and cheaply because it's Activision, and replace the people that they can with AI, because all of the people that didn't bother to get replaced by AI, like they didn't sign that, got fired, because what do they gain from that? And all of the people that did got fired because what does Activision gain from having somebody, you know, on their payroll when they could just give them an AI character and they just record a couple of lines to train the AI model, and then they just steal their voice, and that's pretty much it. They don't need them after that. Like Call of Duty should not be a $70 AAA game. It genuinely doesn't make any sense. And if this wasn't on Game Pass, I really don't think it would have gotten the player count that it did originally. Like not that many people are willing to pay $70 or $60 even for Call of Duty year after year, and especially with how much they're just spitting in our face, more and more people are catching on. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Just I don't know, just please stop buying this shit. I don't get why you guys are just playing the game daily, yet it's so awful. And it's like not a game like Rainbow Six Siege where it's really awful, but like you've already been playing it for 5 years, and occasionally they do fix it and it gets better and a lot of people get back on and it's really active, and you just have like a lot of time invested into it and a lot of memories. It's not even a game like that. They release it every fucking year. Like I don't understand why people keep playing Call of Duty and why people buy fucking battle passes in this shitty ass game. But thanks for watching, and one like equals uh one Skibbity Toilet DLC in season 20 of Black Ops 6.